Let's see what they're saying.
I think we should look at this chart. This chart shows the budget of the U.S. government agency called Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or ICE. You can see that they're pretty well funded, around $10 billion a year. I looked up this chart because ICE has been in the news recently.
That chart is showing last year. It didn't show the budget for 2026 yet.
Agents detained some 1,600 illegal migrants on Tuesday.
Raided this meatpacking plant.
Rounding up workers.
20 to
more than 100 people
detained without explanation.
Put into handcuffs.
And taken to detention centers.
This was without budget. Okay, last year without budget.
This is a kind of immigration police. And long before Donald Trump, at the very beginning of when ICE was created in the early 2000s, the agency had a very ambitious goal: to deport everyone they possibly could, to, quote, remove all removable aliens. They share the same parent agency as Customs and Border Protection, which focuses on the border. ICE focuses on all of this, the interior.
Immigration and Customs Enforcement officials wasting little time under the new administration.
Arrested nearly 1,200.
Large-scale immigration
building was surrounded by federal agents.
Different targets on this
immigrants detained over this past
9
week.
single adult females, 4 female heads of household.
5 members of his congregation detained.
And if you look at this line, you will see that indeed ICE arrests have spiked since Trump took office. And a big way that the new Trump administration has...
Yeah, because before we had a no care about the border policy. Everybody was coming in. Now, Trump, this administration it's big on that. So
this surge in deportations is crime.
Murderers, drug dealers,
violent criminals, and vicious gangs.
We have to get all of these criminals.
Known terrorists.
A lot of the public messaging from the new Trump administration focuses on immigrants who are criminals.
The American people don't want these criminals and dangerous individuals on our streets anymore.
But let's separate the...
Which is right? Nobody wants the worst from another country, but the data...
This line into...
He's going to say the data says different.
This color is immigrants who are convicted criminals. This line is arrests of people with pending criminal charges. And this line is ICE arrests of people with no criminal record at all. This is the steepest line of all.
Yeah.
So, what's going on here? That's what I'm setting out to understand by making this video. What does all of this represent? And if Trump has been able to do all of this with ICE's current budget, what happens next year when Congress has set ICE's budget to look more like this?
A major infusion of funding to carry out President Trump's deportation agenda.
Most intense.
It's more than that. It's not only 30.
Spending spree.
It's 50, close to 50.
On immigration enforcement in modern
history of the United States of America.
More than most other countries' military budgets.
What does ICE plan to do with all that new taxpayer funding?
To understand all of this, I've been talking to immigration experts and lawyers. I've reached out to people in my community who are facing deportation and the threat of being detained by ICE.
Yo pedí permiso en mi trabajo. A mi jefe y le dije que no podía trabajar porque no sé, me sentía tan insegura, con miedo.
When I lived in Tijuana for 2 years, I heard a lot of stories of people who were deported. I've worked closely with people here in the United States who are undocumented or unauthorized, but who have been here for decades. And I wanted to understand their perspective as well. There's so much more to the immigration system than ICE. And eventually I want to make a broader video about immigration in America more generally. But today I'm focusing on ICE. Now, reporting on this is really challenging right now because it's so divisive and emotional and charged. Clarity and multiple perspectives is vital, which is why I am partnering with today's sponsor, Ground News, who I want to tell you briefly about. I use their app and ICE. Ground News shows me all of these different... They support our channel, that they are... Most of his life he's lived in the United States.
Okay.
Actually right here in the DC area where I live.
Here's a video. He was doing ads, selling his stuff.
I learned electrical, I learned HVAC. I started my own company. Well, I had up to 4 employees working for me.
Daniel's story is one of thousands that are happening right now in this country, and we're going to get back to it once we better understand the mechanics of our system. For now, I'll tell you that this summer, Daniel was deported.
When Trump was saying that he was going to deport illegal criminals, it really didn't bother me because I was legal and I felt like I was going to be okay.
His story will make a lot more sense once we understand the basics of how immigration enforcement works in this country.
Hello, my name is Adam Ferrari, the Chief Executive Officer of Phoenix Energy. I look forward to
immigrants. Often they are talked about in one of two statuses: foreign-born people who are here legally or illegally, and that there's some clear line between them. But that's not actually how it is. There's actually a whole rainbow of types of statuses that immigrants can have. Some people born outside the United States become US citizens. Naturalized is what we call it. And then on the other side, you have undocumented or unauthorized immigrants, here without permission. And then you have all of this in between, like immigrants who lack documentation but do have the government's permission to be here. They're typically waiting for some sort of court hearing, like the many people seeking asylum. There are other people who are in the United States that are here legally but temporarily, like for example, someone here on a visa. And then there's lawful permanent residents. They're not citizens, but they're allowed to be here long term. We call them green card holders. And by the way, we kind of made up this visual. This is a simplified, fairly simplistic version of all of the different immigration statuses.
Yeah, the immigration status in the United States has so many different ways that you can get that.
Who are here legally. And everyone kind of agrees on that. Republicans, Democrats. Congress may change it someday with new laws, but for now, we're stuck with old laws, and it's up to the president to enforce those laws in different ways. But for now, we'll work with this. Because Daniel, for most of his life, was here on this chart. He was a lawful permanent resident, a green card holder. So that's the first big thing that is happening here in the new administration, is that while immigration enforcement has focused a lot on these illegal statuses, people up here also have a place.
So he put the guy that was deported in, he said that the guy was legally in the United States. How does he know that? Did the guy send him the documentation saying that, oh, I was legal, I had a green card? If you don't have that, I think you kind of have to go with the people, like the person's word. And he could be lying. We don't know. And it's hard for ICE to detain someone. Okay, ICE can detain someone and send it to jail, but if you have a legal status, the judge will release you. So the guy was deported, being legally in the United States with a green card. That sounds a little bit weird. It's there are for sure information it's missing here
in this new crackdown. Each group here represents millions of people, and the people down here that don't have legal status represent somewhere between 10 and 15 million people. Let's answer the first big question, which is, how did most of these people end up living here? Now, we could start this story anywhere in American history because America is a story of just waves of immigrants. But for our purposes here, let's start in like the early 20th century.
Oh no, he's gonna go back way back when United States started needing immigrants. We don't want to go back that far.
Across this border
Immigration.
Congress creates this new department. It's Homeland Security.
It's how ICE was created and everything. I don't want to go that far back because it's not interesting right now. Let me see what he's talking. I want to see the data that he's talking about. What's legal, what's illegal.
Trump V1 was not very successful in this sort of widespread crackdown on immigration that they envisioned because they didn't have their legal house in order. They were pursuing things that were just blatantly illegal. But they would learn from this. Trump's policy architects would learn from all of these mistakes, and they would be ready next time. But here comes Biden.
The president-elect of the United States of America, Joe Biden.
Biden wins, and boom, boom, look at this graph. People are coming to the border, partly because the notoriously anti-immigrant president is now out of office. And that's what this chart is.
You had people showing up at the border truly believing that Biden had sent any migrant could come here, but also because COVID destabilized the economic situation.
Yeah, Biden opened the borders pretty easily. I think everyone was coming. I've seen news that like Chinese people, Russian people were going to Mexico and just crossing the border, walking. There are, if we go on YouTube here and search about immigration, like immigrants crossing the border when Biden was on power, you could see there were a lot of Chinese and Europeans and Asians coming through the border, easily walking.
Border cross.
Like somewhere between 15 and 20% of people who say that legal immigrants are going to commit a crime. By 2024, it's like double that. Like a third of Americans are now skeptical and afraid of legal immigrants.
We have a new form of crime. It's called migrant crime. They're having fistfights with.
Yeah, this is long time. People like it's a very debatable topic, saying that immigrants are gonna come here and commit a crime. I think it's more the opposite. Like if you come here from another country, it's most likely, especially United States, that's a very secure, very. You have cops everywhere. You have safety. Let's put it that way, everywhere. It's less likely that somebody that's in a country, let's say South America, let's say Brazil, Venezuela, he knows that in those countries, if that person is a criminal, a drug dealer, for example, he knows that in Brazil, he's not going to get caught. He can do whatever he wants. In United States, why would they move to United States to sell drugs, knowing that if they get caught, he's going to stay in jail for decades? I don't think that's a good idea. I don't think that people that are crossing the border or trying to come to the United States are criminals. If they are, like drug dealers, I want to sell drugs in the United States, why would you do that if you're in a country that you can basically do whatever you want and not get caught? It's much harder for you to get caught. I don't agree with that. It can happen. Yeah, it can happen. But most of people that are crossing the borders, unless you have a big deal, like let's say those cartels in Mexico, they have a big deal selling drugs to United States. Yeah, that happened a lot. But the drug dealer moving here to sell drugs here, no. He's going to send the drug here. He's going to try to find a way to send the drugs here. Not to come here to get caught and stay in prison for a long time. So most of the people that are crossing the border, I think they are likely, I'd say 80% of them are likely trying to change their lives, like work hard, come from a country that has a lot of corruption, a lot of, I don't know, it's a communist country. Or your life is much harder to find a way to get better, like to make money, like for example. So people that believe that immigrants, legal immigrants, special legal immigrants here are likely to commit a crime. All right, I understand what you think, because you're here, you don't know who is coming, we don't know their backgrounds. I understand that. But coming from a perspective of knowing a lot of immigrants like I do, I know most of them come here trying to look for a better life. So they are less likely to commit a crime, which doesn't mean they won't commit a crime. They can, and that happens. We've seen a lot on the news, but they are not the ones likely to commit a crime.
With our police officers right in the middle of streets.
14,944 have been convicted of homicide.
They're taking over the city. They're taking people's pets and killing them and eating them.
Okay, real quick.
That was
sometimes commit crimes.
Nonsense.
But if you look at the data, not the news stories that are sensational and horrible, but the actual data, you will see something like this.
We have got to the point where literally anybody can build a fully working app without knowing how to code.
lots of studies that show that undocumented immigrants are far less likely to commit crimes than native-born Americans. They're half as likely to be in jail. They commit violent crime at a meaningfully lower rate. In fact,
yeah, immigrants were way less prominent to commit a crime than U.S. citizens. It's actually the opposite. I agree with that, because you're born here and you kind of blend with that fear of ruining your life because you're born here. But from someone that comes from the outside of the country, you're not going to a country that if you do something, your life's going to be ruined. You have that fear. It's more vivid on you. While you're born here, it's kind of, okay, that can happen. And then it fades away. Like if you kind of get numb and more riskier for you to do something that somebody that just moved here. And when they move here, they are not used to that police presence. Like when I moved here, I saw so many car cops everywhere. You see those lights, blue and red, flashing. That scares you. Not in a bad way. That tells you like, wow, they are everywhere, which is great. Which I loved it. When I saw that, I was like, they are everywhere. That's great. It's safety, which you're not used to. When you come from another country, let's say Venezuela, you're not used to see those cops. When you see them, they see the criminals and maybe wave to them, hey, see you later.
There's even pretty robust studies that show that an increase in the
From Peru.
An undocumented farm worker.
Yeah, this
that
is...
judges struck down, and you learn from failure.
On his first day in office, Trump deported.
He's talking about the deportation. I want to see the new data.
So, to be honest with you, I didn't really took it too serious.
In March 2025, Daniel was detained. He was a green card holder, remember? Had been here since he was a kid.
Okay. This is important. He was talking about that guy.
A man.
I want to see
Before him being elected, he was talking about sending all of the illegal criminals back to whatever country they were from. But in my mind, I wasn't illegal. I was legal. So,
right here, you can tell that he didn't have the green card. Nobody that has green card says, in my mind, I was legal and then I was illegal. Like right here, that's the point. I don't think he was a green card holder.
To be honest with you, I didn't really took it too serious.
In March 2025.
Honest with you, in my mind, I wasn't illegal. I was legal. So,
in my mind, there is no such a thing. If you are a green card holder, you are legal. There is no way that somebody's going to deport you unless you commit a crime. That you got to see a judge. They're not going to throw you in the they're not going to throw you in an airplane and just see you later. Like you got to go before a judge. You got to be judged by a judge. That's the due process. That's the legal process. It's constitutional. You have the right to defend.
To be honest with you, I didn't really took it too serious.
In March 2025, Daniel was detained. He was a green card holder, remember? Had been here since he was a kid. He was a business owner.
No, wait. How do you know that he's a green card holder? Did you see his green card? Did he show to you? Did the green card expire? Something is missing.
But technically, he had a record.
I did get in trouble as a teenager. I found a little joint.
Oh, so he committed a crime. That changed everything. When you are in the United States, you're a green card holder, and you commit a crime at any point of your life. That puts you in a different position. So you are legal but passive of deportation because you committed a crime.
Marijuana in the vehicle.
So even though this was decades ago, didn't matter. He gets put in.
It doesn't matter. Like, why you gonna commit a crime in the United States? Why you come here illegally? You have a green card, and you're gonna commit a crime. Right there, when you commit a crime, you're just basically saying that if they catch you, they're gonna deport you, even with a green card. You're basically throwing your green card away.
Into a detention center that is run by a private company while he awaits a hearing.
Food is really horrible. The milk is already spoiled. Like, as soon as you open it.
Okay, don't get involved with drugs then, bro. You're complaining about the jail. Don't do things that bring you to the jail.
Like, you could smell it. Pieces of bread, it had mold. I lost 35 pounds in less than 2 months. Like, mentally, they were breaking me down.
It's sad to see that somebody in that position, and I don't want to sound like cold and not a person that doesn't have a soul, but to me, if you commit a crime, you are losing your opportunity to be here. If you're an immigrant, you're just throwing away like all the opportunities that you have.
I feel like I'm gonna die.
Immigration jails are wretched places to be, so much so that I don't think it's possible to have a fair immigration court process while you're detained.
Lawyers saying that the detentions are bad. Why don't you fight for them to be bad at it? And if you care that much about criminals, people that commit a crime, if you're in jail and didn't commit a crime, it's one thing. But if you're in jail because you committed a crime, you're complaining that you're in a bad spot. You put yourself in that bad spot.
Because so many people just don't have the psychological fortitude to maintain that for the months it takes to fight your case.
The showers were nasty. It would be flies, mosquitoes all over. The facilities are dirty. They don't give you no sheet covers.
Yeah, here he's complaining about the jail and flies and everything. Wow, take a picture and send to Human Rights saying that your food is coming with flies and you're eating and you're dying from it.
Pernicious part of the whole story. Even though he could have fought his case in front of a judge and probably won, his lawyer told him...
He's saying probably won. How do you know you're going to win a case that you had a green card, you committed a crime, you're selling drugs, using drugs, was caught with the quantity that put you in a position that you were a drug dealer, and you got arrested by ICE or whoever it was, and you are going in front of a judge to testify that you are worth to stay here? How are you gonna win that? Like, tell me, how are you gonna win? How are you gonna tell a judge, say, hey, I'm a nice human being, I was just selling drugs here in the United States, or I was caught with a lot of drugs in the United States, and I'm a green card holder, I'm not even a citizen. Like, can someone tell me how that wins a case? Like, how you win that case? Like, let's go back.
But this is actually the most pernicious part of the whole story. Even though he could have fought his case in front of a judge and probably won,
how do you win that? Like, I'm just trying to think here. The possibility of winning a case against a judge. You are somebody that's not a citizen. You moved to another country when you're a kid. You got your green card. And somehow in your life, you're selling drugs or using drugs, and you get caught. And you go in front of a judge. What are you going to tell the judge? Oh, I was an angel. I was just selling drugs. That doesn't make sense.
His lawyer told him that to just work through that process would take months, maybe even.
Yeah, that's a bad thing about the system in the United States or any other country. The United States is even quicker than most of countries that I've known and studied the law of those countries. The United States is still quick, but the system will take months for you to get through the process where you are able to fight your case and leave the jail, leave the penitentiary.
Longer than a year. But things were so bad in this detention center that he calculated that this was an unbearable amount of time.
The government and ICE know very, very well that it is, in fact, so punishing and awful for people to endure that they will often be forced into giving up their rights.
I've seen both sides of this story. I've seen people that stayed in jail and fought their case and came out. I think it's more about how strong are you to mentally strong, especially to be detained in jail and have that mentality every day, wake up and says, no, I'm one day in a year, I'm going to come out. And it's 6 months, I'm going to come out. That depends on the process. So, yeah, I understand that it's hard, must be really hard. So you're in a place that you cannot leave. The food's not great. People around you, they won't smell good. You're not going to smell good. You're going to sleep in a really bad condition. Probably your mattress is like an inch thick, not even. It's terrible. Don't commit a crime.
And simply agreeing to be deported.
The living conditions were so bad that I basically asked to get deported myself.
I talked to Daniel right after he had arrived to El Salvador, after being detained and then deported.
I'm still trying to adapt to the heat over here and the way people talk, because when...
Yeah, he's talking about his life there and now, and it's not important.
Brian is the best content marketing team lead I've ever worked with. But before he created his content calendar using
Too Hard. And this is when Stephen Miller, who's seen as the architect of Trump's immigration crackdown, gives ICE a quota.
We are looking to set a goal of a minimum of 3,000 arrests for ICE every day.
3,000 arrests a day. I don't actually know if that's a lot or little. I wanted to put this into perspective. So let's just sort of compare it to something else. Like New York's police department, they're pretty big. They probably do a lot of arrests a day. Well, it turns out they arrest about 700 people per day, and they have a...
Yeah, that's debatable. It's just probably people talking just to get votes.
She was about to take them to school.
A chaotic face-off between...
Okay, but here comes the problem that we maybe could have predicted if we were listening to the first half of this story, which is the U.S. economy needs these people. There are industries that rely on their work. And business owners, corporations, a key part of Trump's fans, start to get really angry that Trump is raiding their workplaces.
Yeah, the service in the United States, it's mostly labor. In the United States is mostly done by immigrants. And a big chunk of them are illegals.
And deporting their workforce. So here he is coming out with a Truth Social post saying that his aggressive policies are taking very good long-time workers away from them.
Yeah, that I do not understand. I would like somebody to explain to me, how is it possible that you have the president saying, crack down everybody, every illegal immigrant, take them down, but don't go to the farms, don't go to constructions. Wait, like, is the law supposed to apply to everybody? That's the Constitution saying that it has to apply to everybody. So you have the president say, don't go here, don't go there. So you kind of guiding what you see and what you don't see. Can somebody explain that to me? How is that something doable and morally correct? I don't think I can understand what Trump was doing back there. Trying to guide what he can take and what's not taken.
With those jobs being, quote, almost impossible to replace. Like, if you thought I was being, like, exaggerating about how vital these people are to certain industries, Donald Trump himself is corroborating that. almost impossible to replace. That same day, there's an email that goes out to ICE supervisors telling them to stop it with the worksite enforcement.
Who sent an email? Like, I don't like this thing. That, oh, that's an email that was sent out. Who sent an email?
Operations. Stop with the worksite raids on agriculture, restaurants, and hotels.
Yeah, you can't do that. You can't just say that you're going to enforce the law and you're going to try to kind of guide which one's going to get. If you put law enforcement outside, it's to enforce the law, not part of it. That is the thing I was saying since the beginning when he started to say, oh, don't touch the farmers, don't touch this, don't touch that, only bad criminals. And then along with the bad criminals, some good ones immigrants will go along with them. Yeah, you can't. That's not how the law is supposed to be applied. The law is supposed to be applied equally and to everyone. If you're going to go outside, apply the law, detain immigrants that's illegally here, you got to detain everybody, not just certain types of immigrants, unless you change the law, which is the main thing that I think we should have done it before you try to push something that you kind of don't agree with. If Trump didn't want the farmers to leave the country, or the government didn't want, or ICE or DHS didn't want to take those type of people like farmers, constructions, because they are good for the country, good for the economy. We need waitress, we need people in restaurants. Before you send all the dogs out to catch those people and you didn't want it, why don't you change the law first? You're kind of trying to build a house from the roof. Does that make sense? So why don't we try to change the law? I know it's so complicated as well. It's not easy to do. You got to go through Congress and everything. But yeah, you're trying to solve a problem, but it's much deeper.
And it tells them to
think.
Stop arresting non-criminal collaterals, jargon for the people you find along the way when you actually have a target. Let's see what happens next to our graph. Well, this line, arrests of immigrants without a criminal record, slows but continues to go up. They still have to meet their quota, and everyone is still a target.
Incluso me despierto a veces toda así con el corazón latiendo y le digo a mi esposo, yo creo que nos vinieron a buscar.
I talked to Maria, not her real name, who is one of these people that are now a target. She's been here for decades, she's raised a family here, she works, but now her life has been made impossibly anxious.
Ahorita sí es un caos completo porque, digamos, al salir, por ejemplo, yo tenía la sensación como...
Well, that's what happens when you try to send and try to catch everybody out there. You're going to catch families. You're going to catch good people. You're going to take families apart, basically. And that's not nice. That's what I don't agree with. And a lot of people say, oh, they are not here illegally. They're immigrants. They're illegals. Yeah, I understand that. But they still are good people. They are good workers. They are part of the economy. And if the law is not changed, the Congress doesn't approve something that think about those people, those families, and innocent people, good people that are here to work, and do they make their life better? Make America great again, like Trump likes to say. Those people are here to be part of that. Those families are here to work and pay taxes and do everything legally. But it's not easy. And with the policy that we have now, that's just sending the DHS, just sending ICE, it's going to catch those people, and it's going to be hard. This is part of that.
Because now Maria is going through a massive rebranding by this administration.
You are, by definition, a criminal, and so therefore you are subject to deportation.
For years, this population was seen as necessary and legally allowed to enter and work. And then for decades, the government kind of just turned a blind eye, knowing that we needed them. But now they are seen as criminals. Yes, there's the talk of the worst of the worst.
The American people don't want these criminals and dangerous individuals on our streets anymore.
But it's not about that. I mean, look at this line. No criminal record. The administration is undergoing a reassociation.
Yeah, the administration is just catching everyone. So if you're here, don't have documents legally here, you can be arrested.
To rebrand this giant population of people as every one of them a criminal, every one of them fair game to be detained and deported.
Yeah, that's what's happening, literally.
Outsiders as criminals.
We are not going away. We are staying here to liberate this city from socialist, burdensome leadership.
Families showing up for immigration hearings, being detained by ICE agents right after.
2 people pepper sprayed outside the ICE facility.
Federal agents slamming a 79-year-old business owner to the ground.
A mother to the ground.
ICE agents shoot and injure a woman.
Homeland Security says its operations are about immigration laws, not instilling fear.
Our bookstore is like a portal.
Yeah, this is another topic as well. Sending armed men out on the streets, and especially if they don't have the proper time to be trained to do that, will cause a lot of chaos. And that could be a topic for another video that we can discuss about it.